Russell Wilson makes his first start for the Pittsburgh Steelers in a bit of a controversial way, right? Going into the week, Justin Fields playing probably the best ball that we have seen Justin Fields play. He's sitting there at 4-2, but going back to the summer and into August, we knew that this was going to be a quarterback competition, and Russ ends up getting hurt. Justin Fields is the starter out of the gate. He plays, I think, better than what we have seen him play, certainly with Chicago. Not that there weren't flashes, but he was putting it together a lot better. So you're 4-2, Justin Fields playing about as good as you could expect from Justin Fields, realistically. And they still make the change. They still make the change to Russell Wilson. A lot of people talked about, okay, well, it's a good decision, it's a bad decision. And before the game even got kicked off, Mike Tomlin said himself, like, hey, I'm the head coach. It's my job to figure out what is the best course of action for this team. We're not just looking to win regular season games. We're looking to get into the playoffs. We're looking to win Super Bowl. So he wanted to find out, is Russ a better quarterback to get us a Super Bowl than the way that we saw Justin Fields play? And when you put it out like that, you go, okay, I guess I understand that. They end up winning against the New York Jets, defending home turf 37-15. Really took it to him. And Russell Wilson in this game, 16 for 29, so a little over 50% completion percentage. The adjusted completion percentage, I believe, was right around 64% when you talk about throwaways and drop passes. 264 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Didn't have a big-time throw or a turnover-worthy play in this game, although I do think that I do think the first moon ball to George Pickens is at least debatable for a big time throw. If you guys want to say that was a big time throw, I recognize you there. Although, it was a little bit behind. He took a little bit of time to stop and get the ball. Whatever. Anyways, what did you think about Russell Wilson in his first start here, Seth? I got to know what you thought just overall of the situation and sort of where the Steelers are at moving forward with him.
Yeah, I think it's still super inconclusive. I think that's kind of where I am, because I think you saw a lot of the same issues that have plagued the Steelers offense. And again, it's probably been a better offense than we thought. And maybe that's not fair then to think, oh, this could be even better. This is maybe just where they are, especially with the talent that surrounds whoever plays quarterback. But you got a good running game, an efficient run game against the Jets. And you got George Pickens making like 3 big contested catches, which were the 3 big plays. And then a Freiermuth kind of contested catch where he dives for the ball. Like, those were the big plays in the passing game. And I don't know if a lot of them were on Russell Wilson. So I look at it like, we're still inconclusive. They get the win. They're 5-2. So they give themselves kind of another week of buffer to see what they really have in Russell Wilson. I guess the thing that scares me still, the receiving core outside of Pickens making super catches is just not there. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of separation. There's not a lot of open receivers. The play action game, so they actually had the most yards this season off play action, which is something that we talked about them. Hey, like, Arthur Smith has always been known for creating good play action game plans. It hadn't been there the first few weeks. They go and get a lot of yards off of it, though one of those plays is that Pickens kind of back shoulder play where it's kind of like a nominal, not really play action, but we have to chart it like that, and whoever's doing it charts it like as play action. It's not really, it's kind of a fake one. And there was a lot of throws to the flat. You know what I mean? They out leveraged the Jets to the flat with some throws to Darnell Washington and some of the other tight ends. So, yeah, they had a lot of yards on play action, but it's still not those like real open over the middle of the field receivers that Arthur Smith has kind of had throughout his career. So I still think that will regress positively. I said it 3 weeks ago and that hasn't happened the last 3 weeks, but I'm confident it will eventually happen. And then if those things happen, then it probably doesn't matter which quarterback plays. But I just look at it and I think the ceiling, is like Russell Wilson like a good quarterback anymore? I'm not sure about that. And so don't you want a quarterback that can make plays under pressure and give you more in the run game? That's kind of how I feel about it. Like, both of them aren't great drop back passers right now at their point in their careers. So it's like, well, why not just give me the guy who can actually make plays with his legs if you're not going to get it? Because that's what I said. Like, Russell Wilson was fine but a lot of those plays are on George Pickens and Freiermuth.
Yes. I think the way that I look at it, I don't know if I'm looking at it through rose-colored glasses or if this is just a glass half full situation with the Steelers. But after watching Russell Wilson, I'm not gonna lie, like I understand the decision even more to see what you have from him, because you mentioned Justin Fields gives you more in the run game. Justin Fields gives you more when it comes to play under pressure because he's got that escapability. He's got the mobility to him, and he was even making decisions when he was escaping and out of the pocket that were better and more consistent than what we even saw from him when he was in Chicago. So all of that is very true about Justin Fields. But I will say this, Russell Wilson, even in just that game, threw with better touch than Justin Fields did. He is a better touch passer. He is more comfortable putting more air under the football than Justin Fields is. So that is a different element of his game that I think he does bring to the drop back passing game that, in my opinion, was visibly different. Now, maybe you're saying to yourself, if our wide receivers are not going to create that separation window, I need a quarterback who is okay not throwing the fastball every time to them, because that's what Justin Fields does. Not that he can't throw with touch. We have seen him do that at times before, but it is not a regularity to his game. He is a fastball pitcher. That is what he does. So even his big-time throws deep down the field, it's a lot of fastball stuff. Whereas Russell Wilson, talk about the moon ball. It's a saying and it's a tag that we have for his throwing style for a reason. It's because he's putting a ton of air under these passes. He is very comfortable, or much more experienced, putting air under the ball and really putting it in a breadbasket deeper down the field. So I wonder if that is actually more beneficial to the wide receiver. So I wonder if that is why you go to Russell Wilson. Now, he had some bad misses in this game, but Seth, I'm not going to lie. I looked at some of those misses, like some of the misses to the flat and him just like missing guys on out routes. And to me, again, maybe I'm looking at this at glass half full and a little naive, but like, I saw that more as first game starting with this group at full NFL regular season speed. Like he was not in sync with his guys when it came to those like quicker passes, because you got to think about this part too. I think this is a not talked about enough topic when it comes to those shorter passes, either to the flat or especially like those speed outs. If you miss at all, like that's pick six potential. And that's like game-changing negative play for you. So if you are not incredibly confident that that wide receiver is not only going to be where they're going to be when it comes to like the depth of their route and the timing of their route, but also the deception to get the defensive player off of them a little bit to think that they can't jump that route. I mean, there's so many things that, in my opinion, go into that. So a couple of those misses, I think like 3 or 4 of those passes that I watched where I think people would have watched it and would have been like, Russ is a bum. See, he can't even complete the easy passes. To me, that read more as this is week 1 with this team, and this is something that can get a little bit better. Now, the over the middle of the field stuff, that is always going to be a negative of Russell Wilson's game. I don't think he does it. If you want to do more of that stuff, I think Justin Fields has better potential to be able to hit over the middle of the field. But I was actually really encouraged this past week with how well and how willing Russ was to go to those touch passes. And I think those only get better the more he is out there and plays. So unless he starts throwing catastrophic turnovers, I think we're getting at least 3 to 4 more weeks of Russell Wilson before, week 12. Maybe we're making this decision again. Maybe we're having this conversation again if Russ isn't really playing the right way. But I think he's going to get a fair shot at this like Justin Fields got a fair shot at it.
Yeah, and like you might as well give them the same kind of sample size here. And like and it's like one of those things where like you're getting away with a defense that's playing lights out, a run game that has had some bad weeks but has also had some explosive weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's with all the O-line injuries too. So yeah, I think like I said, I just think it's inconclusive after Russell Wilson hasn't played for so long. I think the thing that worries me with Russell Wilson is like, we want to believe that it'll get back to Russell Wilson, like 2018, 19, whatever Seahawks. And I just don't, the decline since he busted his finger his last year with Seattle, and then came back early and then just wasn't the same quarterback. I mean, that's really the line in the sand, and he's never been that quarterback again since then. So like I don't want to. I'm trying my best not to hold on to those priors and just think about the Russell Wilson now.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I didn't see anything that made me believe that it was going to be better than that. I also didn't see anything that made me believe it was going to be worse than that. So like that's why I keep saying, like, to me it was very inconclusive. I'd love to see a game where they're in a real battle where they got to throw the ball a lot. Like what quarterback do we get in those situations? That's kind of where I am right now. But I agree. I think there's stuff that he does better than Justin Fields, and stuff that Justin Fields does better than him. And we need to see another 3 weeks of this. Like, let's get four games of Russell Wilson. You're hoping that, again, the defense plays well enough that you can get these W's, which is kind of what's happened this whole season. The classic Mike Tomlin, like offense can't really move the ball consistently, and they win games. So you're setting yourself up to continue to run this experiment. If you had lost and now you're 4-3, and then you lose again next week, you're 4-4. Maybe that's a different story. But now you every time you get this win, you're allowing more buffer, right, for this experiment, which is great, right? Like that's what you need. Like we can't really do this on 1 game sample sizes. We need a bigger sample size, and they're getting away with it.
Yeah, I think the Steelers are in the perfect spot. And again, like I think I was more on the side of like, what are the Steelers doing? Why are they making this quarterback change? Was the quarterback competition during the summer disingenuous? Like, was it always going to be Russell Wilson's job, no matter how Justin Fields played? Because it's hard to imagine that Justin Fields would have played better realistically than what he did when he was out there. So to go to Russ, I was definitely leaning more towards the camp of like, what is Mike Tomlin doing? How is he doing this? How is he justifying this? And after that game, I am now on the other side of things. I am now on, okay, I think Mike Tomlin made the right decision. I think that, sure, Justin Fields was playing better than what you expected. Do I think that the Steelers are a legitimate playoff contender with Justin Fields? I don't. Could they be one with Russell Wilson? Maybe. And you might as well figure out what you have there, especially when you're sitting there at 4-2. I'm just looking at it right now. According to our power rankings, they had the 25th easiest schedule before week 7. So prior to week 7. So 6 weeks into the year, they had the 25th toughest schedule. So a very easy schedule up to that point. And they were 4-2. They were then inviting the New York Jets, a struggling New York Jets team, to town where they get to host them. Next week, on Monday Night Football, they also host the New York Giants, who are not very good either. So it's like, if there was any time to maybe make this switch and see what you got from a 2-game sample size of Russell Wilson, that's what you want, because moving forward, they have the 3rd most difficult schedule in the NFL. And then if you get past the Giants, I have a hard time believing that the Steelers wouldn't have the number 1 hardest schedule in the NFL moving forward from that point on in the season. Because after the Giants game next week, they are traveling to Washington, and then it's the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, the Browns, the Eagles, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Bengals. Like, that sucks. That is a brutal schedule. So you might as well take this little gap that you have and put Russell Wilson into the game and figure it out. And then sort of as you have your struggles and have you, like you said, have your buffer zone of wins, you can really make that quarterback decision once you get into the teeth of that schedule. So that's what it's like moving forward for the Steelers. So,
like, the Steelers have a history of, like, the recent history of, like, having some kind of times where they come out the gate pretty quickly, and then the teeth of the schedule kind of comes to hit them in the face. So I hope that doesn't happen again, because I really like this team. I like watching Justin Fields play quarterback, even though it's maddening at times. It's just like, and I really like watching the defense, especially the D line. But yeah, I think you're at least giving yourself some buffer here with the Giants game coming up. You want you want Russell Wilson to really look good in this game, to give yourself something.
You do.
Like, let me really see what's going on. Let me see what happens when he's got to work through progressions. Let me see what happens when, your 4 big plays are all contested catches plus a DPI on a contested play. Like, I want to see what happens in this offense when those plays aren't there. Maybe the running game's not going very well, and then I'm ready to make a decision. So maybe we'll talk about it next Tuesday as well.
Yeah, no, I think will be something that we'll certainly monitor as the season goes on. But I'm going to be honest with you. If they win on Monday night against the Giants, which I'll be picking them to win, they'll be 6-2 on the season.
I know.
I think they're making the playoffs. Like, I think that they are because then the last 8 games they play, for as tough as that schedule is, it's Mike Tomlin, it's this defense. I think they'll go 4-4 during that stretch, and 4-4 makes you, that would be 10-6, right? Well, wait, there's 17 games, so I'm missing one. So it would have to be 9. So even if they're 4-5, 10-7, I think you sneak into the playoffs if you're 10-7, if you're the Steelers. So what you brought up, the buffer of how many wins they have to this point allows them to be able to make this decision with the quarterbacks. And I don't know, maybe I think everybody was grabbing their pitchforks and they're like, how could Mike Tomlin do this? What's he doing? He might be good at this, folks. He might be pretty good at this. I don't know. Probably let it play out.
Dude, Steelers fans thinking that they should fire Mike Tomlin, it's crazy.
Any Steelers fan out there that thinks that they should fire Mike Tomlin is doesn't like to win. That's
I mean, that's it. Like, I think Chris said it on Sunday night, but like 80% of the league would go after him right now if Mike Tomlin was available.
Immediately.
Like, this is a team that has not had good quarterback play since before the Ben Roethlisberger elbow injury, which is like 2018 or something like that, 2019.
Yeah.
So they win games.
He figures it out.
I don't know how, but they win games.